Now, China and India, world's two strong economies. China is the second strongest economy or the second largest economy, and India is the sixth largest economy. And both these countries have a continuous conflict between them in order to ensure that who is going to remain on top as the manufacturing hub of the entire world. So let's understand what does the statistics say. But before we jump into it, we need to understand two terms: nominal GDP and purchasing power of a country. So when you're talking about nominal GDP, this is a GDP of a country at the current prices without taking into account the inflation rate. And the purchasing power is the price of the products of a country as compared to price of products in another country. And over here, we're talking about similar prices or similar products. So in 1987, the nominal GDP of both the countries were nearly identical. But right now, China's GDP is almost 5.46 times as compared to Indian GDP. Now, China ranks first in terms of the purchasing power parity, even higher as compared to US, and India ranks third. In nominal and PPP terms, both the countries account for nearly 21 and 26% of the total world wealth. In 2021, China had exported goods worth 3.6 trillion US dollars and currently stands as first when it comes to the maximum amount of goods which were exported. In 2018, China's export made nearly 10.7% globally, whereas India stood at 18th position in the same year with exporting nearly $284 billion of goods in the same year. So China is clearly the manufacturing hub of the world, with majority of the products being made in China. You'll definitely see a lot of tags which say made in China. So definitely a lot of consumers will be thinking, why is all the products made in China? And also, with India's economy growing, with India being one of the fastest growing economies right now, can India become the next China, or can India become the manufacturing hub of the entire world? Let's understand that. So let's first understand what makes China different. Why majority of the products are manufactured in China. Now, people think that majority of the products are manufactured in China is because of availability of cheap labor, but that is not entirely true. China has earned the nickname as the world's factory for its robust business ecosystem, lack of regulatory compliances, low taxes and customs, competitive currency practices, and in addition, definitely the cheap labor cost. Now, China has a population of 1.4 billion people and India has a population of 1.38 billion people. Now, according to supply and demand, definitely your wages will remain less as long as the demand for workers is quite high. As long as supply of workers is high, the wages will continue to be less in both of these countries. When manufacturing overseas, the most essential factor which comes into consideration is definitely the purchasing price. But also you have the quality, delivery dates, and the convenience of doing business. They are also extremely important. When compared to China, India's manufacturing labor is even more competitive. In 2018, the average cost of manufacturing labor per hour in India was approximately 92 cents, whereas in China it was much higher at $3.52. Now, China's massive labor pool enables the country to manufacture in large quantities, meet any seasonal industry need, and even respond to unexpected demand spikes. Shenzhen, for example, which is a city in the southeast of China that actually borders Hong Kong, has become the entire center for electronics industry. Component manufacturers, low-cost employees, technical staff, assembly suppliers, and customers have helped them create an ecosystem which is so good that it has become a center of entire electronic industry. China does have an edge over India when it comes to transportation infrastructure. In China, there's seaports, airports, railway network, roads. They're much better as compared to India. India relies heavily on the railway and on the road network, which also has proven not to be the best. Now, in India, for example, a shipment from North India can take weeks just to reach South India. A shipment from Shenzhen in China will actually reach faster as compared to a shipment from Kolkata in India itself. Now, Indian exporters, they pay almost twice for the shipping as compared to Chinese exporters. And that being the reason the Indian government is steadily investing more into the India's transportation. For example, railways, highways, port, airport, and they are investing more in order to bring the entire transportation time down and also reduce the transportation cost by nearly 20%. And this is the reason why so many companies like Apple and Tesla have invested heavily into the Chinese economy. It is purely because of China's supply chain. Now, in case of Apple, they get the components from the US market and then they assemble in China. Even Tesla has made the biggest gigafactory in China and are exporting their vehicles to entire Europe and Asia market from the China itself. In comparison to India, China has a significant edge in terms of scale. Now, to encourage manufacturers, suppliers, and other key important parties to be right physically adjacent with each other, the Chinese government has created special economic zones and industrial clusters. As per a McKinsey report, they clearly say that the Chinese manufacturers are almost 5 times more productive as compared to the Indian manufacturers or the Indian counterparts. Now, China has implemented an export tax rebate program in 1985 as a strategy to increase the competitiveness of its export by eliminating double taxation on exported items, which means that the VAT, which is a VAT on exported goods, is at 0%. Now, lower tax rate helps them to keep the production cost actually lesser, allowing the country to attract investors and businesses eager to make low-cost items. The Chinese government has also been accused of artificially depressing the yuan's value to provide an edge when it comes to export against similar goods as compared to the US competitor. Now, China keeps a check on the appreciation of yuan by buying dollars and selling yuan. The yuan was estimated to be undervalued by nearly 30% as compared to dollar back in 2005. Now, let's also understand how did the entire US-China trade war have an impact on India. Now, US in 2018 stamped a US trade war with China, where a lot of goods which were being exported to China, the tariff was increased from 3% all the way to 21%. China also retaliated, where goods imported from the US market, the tariff of those went up from 7% to 22%. Now, because of the US-China trade war, a lot of other countries, especially the Southeast Asian countries, have benefited, like Vietnam and Indonesia, and also other Asian countries like India, Pakistan, Bangladesh. So let's understand how did the trade war have an impact on India. Now, definitely this is a golden opportunity for the Indian economy, purely because in India, you have the raw materials already available and you have the manpower as well. India is among the top 10 exporters to the US, and they aspire to have a global export of goods worth more than $1 trillion by 2028. Companies such as Apple are already considering to have an alternative manufacturing hub to China purely because of the Beijing communist dictatorship and their issues with the US government. Apple now sees India as a next manufacturing hub. They see India as a new China because of the huge population and cheap labor which is available in India. Now, India has already seen an increase in the overall export rate, but the overall gain has not been much as expected. Now, India has gained approximately $1.2 billion, whereas Vietnam has gained approximately $8.5 billion post the US-China trade war. The results are definitely good, but again, it is not great for India and Bangladesh, which are one of the biggest Asian exporters. So, in summary, India's economy is the 6th largest economy. Also, it is one of the fastest growing economies with high skilled labor, mixed economy, e-commerce, strong agricultural background, a huge market with a huge potential customers are definitely few of the key facts. Also, in terms of GDP, India's GDP is quite stable. However, to become the next manufacturing hub like China, there are a lot of political and economic factors which needs to be resolved, like the electricity issue, transportation issue, operational issues, and definitely a lot of trade barriers. In case of India, there are a lot of trade barriers. For example, when Tesla wanted to export its car to India, India completely refused, saying that India will not be importing any vehicles from China unless Tesla manufactures or assembles in India. So again, for India to compete with China or for India to become the next manufacturing hub like China, we have to completely change a lot of economic laws like taxes, labor, power cut issues, factories, else we will continue to remain expensive as compared to even Vietnam or Bangladesh. So I hope you have found this video useful. I hope you have understood why India is struggling to become the next manufacturing hub like China. And if you find this video useful, make sure you do like it, you do subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next video.